As we have seen throughout the courses, the first step in the strategic planning process is always to establish an objective. The same applies to a communication strategy, which will clearly stem from the overarching objective or purpose of your organization. Knowing where you want to go, you can establish the steps to get there. While that purpose may be a long-term goal for your communication strategy, think in the short or medium term. Focus on a goal that can be achieved in 3 years and on objectives that you can reach in the next 12 to 18 months. This is not set in stone. For example, if your communication strategy is aimed at promoting an event that will take place in 6 months, it will obviously be a strategy that includes the work leading up to the event and the post-event communication efforts. It will likely be an 8-month strategy. If your communication strategy is aimed at generating a cultural change to reduce consumption, then our objective will be one of a much longer term. Just like the objectives of your organizational strategy, the objectives of the communication strategy also need to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. In English, the term SMART is used because each letter represents one of these characteristics. This is an example of a communication strategy objective that I had to review. Let's make people aware of the conservation efforts carried out by organization X and encourage them to support them. I ask you, does it have all the characteristics we mentioned? Is it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and does it define a time frame to achieve it? Let's see how we can improve it. First, let's make it more specific. Instead of the people, let's say the people who live around the reserve. Also, instead of just mentioning conservation efforts, I can make it more specific and say that I want them to know about the restoration efforts. To make it more measurable, let's increase it to 80% of people being aware and 20% of people getting involved. Let's also add how I want them to join as volunteers and make donations. I just need to set a time frame. Let's say that by the end of the year, they will be familiar with it, and in 2 years they will join. In such a way that it is realistic as well, because I know that in order for them to join, I first have to do some convincing work. So instead of one objective, there were 2. The first, by the end of the year, is that at least 80% of the people living around the reserve are aware of the restoration efforts being carried out by Organization X. And the second, in 2 years, at least 20% of the people are participating in one of the activities, either as a volunteer or through donations. Much better, right? These 2 objectives have the characteristics we mentioned. They are SMART objectives. In this example, we chose the restoration efforts because it was the highest grossing product, I would say, the most charismatic, and the one with the most potential to capture the public's attention. The organization had material on how it had restored areas and had evidence of how the jaguar, monkeys, and many birds had returned to this region. It was a product and it was a flagship program. Taking the time to write a well-thought-out objective is like laying the foundation of your house. I was born and raised in Mexico City, and earthquakes have been a part of my life since I was little, so believe me, I am familiar with having or not having a solid foundation. Just as good foundations prevent a house from being damaged or collapsing during an earthquake, clearly establishing your objectives will allow you to have a strong communication strategy that won't fall apart halfway through. Now, it's your turn. Write the objective of your communication strategy, and don't forget that if necessary, you can use the Video Ask feature to send us your questions, whether in written video or recorded format. and we will respond to you personally using